Hello and welcome to another episode of The Comics Touch from the Comic Crush. I'm Paul and I'm here with Gemma.
Hello!
Gemma is once again joining us from Travelling Man. She's not in Travelling Man right now, but that's where she hails from, Travelling Man in York. They're an excellent comic store. You should take a look at them. We'll be talking about some comics that we've kind of taken a look at this week, some of which will be current and new, some of which won't. We're just here to talk about comics, really, that we liked. So I hope you'll stick with us for the next sort of 40 minutes or so. Gemma's read some very fine comic books this week. I've read a couple that I've quite enjoyed. Gemma, do you want to kick us off? What have you taken a look at?
Right, so the first comic I'm going to talk about is a comic called Stray Dogs. Can you see that there? Fantastic cover.
Fantastic.
There.
Yeah, Science of Lambs. There you go.
Amazing. Yeah, I reviewed it this morning, so I thought I would talk about it now. This cover as well. Let's discuss this cover. This is incredible. Like, what a contrast with this cutesy little face and then Silence of the Lambs. Yeah, down with that, definitely. Absolutely brilliant. So yeah, I know I always say this. You know, my favourite thing to say is brilliant and really and just. They're my favourite things to say, but it is brilliant. It's really good. A big shock as well within it. But I'll basically just go over the basic premise of it. I'm not going to tell you too much because it will ruin it, and it is such a great twist. But my notes aren't in order. Sorry, get them in order.
Take your time.
So take my time. It's fine. So it's about a recently rescued dog who's going through a bit of a confusing and traumatic time. And the story starts off in the vets, which is normally a nightmare for pets and owners alike, as I well know. I'm always at the vets. The next part of the story cuts to Sophie being taken to a farmhouse, and it's filled with the rescue dogs. Obviously, when the dog gets there, it's very anxious, it's very nervous, as you would imagine sort of a rescue dog to be, and all the other dogs who can talk as well try to put Sophie at ease because she's suffering with anxiety and memory loss from the treatment that she'd had at the vets. I'll add that little bit in there as well. And basically it takes giving the dog an item from its previous owner for them to remember what's happened to themselves.
Right.
So,
which you don't want to give away, am I right?
No, I'm not giving that bit away. No, because it's brilliant. But yeah, it's jaw-dropping. It's very unexpected. I was quite surprised by it, just because of how it looks as well. It's got a very sort of 90s animation feel to it. So Good Dogs Go to Heaven, a bit like Lady and the Tramp. Don't know if say the D word. Disney. It's very Disney sort of looking in a sense. D word. Disney.
But is the content sort of at odds with that? Is it quite an interesting clash to have? Yeah,
definitely. I mean, not initially as you're reading it. It's only kind of when you get to the shock where you go, oh my god, this is like out there to have them two things sort of alongside one another. But yeah, so initially you're lured into a very false sense of security. It's just a nice, something's happened to this dog. They're being rescued. It's nice. There's talking dogs. It all looks like 101 Dalmatians, but with different breeds. It's but then it does just go, and you go, oh, I like that. Like what? But
you had no idea going in that it would be.
No, I mean, the tagline. It's like The Secret Life of Pets Meets Seven. So I had an idea that it might be, might be a little bit different, or have an element to it that might be a little bit darker. But yeah, it was a total. An absolute surprise. Again, the way it looks is just, I don't know, it makes you feel nice inside. It does remind you of, when you were a kid watching these types of things. And another thing that's really interesting is the colours that they've used. It's they're almost pastel-y, really beautiful colours. Reminds me of like summer ice cream, like a Neapolitan. Really lovely colours. So it's I do think most people will enjoy this and enjoy reading it. I think it ticks a lot of different boxes for a lot of different people. If you're a Disney fan, you'll like it. A Disney fan with a dark side, you'll like it. Yeah, maybe don't read it to, I don't know, your 8-year-old, maybe. But it's a teen plus. It's definitely a teen plus. It's for 16 and up, this one. Right. So yeah, it's not. Okay. Don't be fooled by how it looks, thinking that it's okay for children, because it's not. You know.
Do you like things that kind of? Because I'm always a fan of when a thing suddenly switches genres halfway through, or like you kind of watch one genre fall away and another one kind of replaces it. Are you a fan of things like that? Do you like things not necessarily because I think every comic surprises you in some way, you know?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
But things that are able to shed the kind of appearance of what they might be about and become something else.
Oh, yeah. I mean, yeah, definitely. I'm trying to think of something that's a good example of that, actually. I can't think of anything off the top of my head, but I do. But yeah, definitely something that it's always good to be surprised, isn't it? And it's always good to sort of see two things together that you wouldn't naturally put together. Do you know what I mean? Somebody else has had that thought to go, oh, these two things, and you'd go, what? Like, what? Why? You know, as I said, to think of The Secret Lives of Pet Meet 7. How would you think of that? Like, it's sort of, you know, it's totally two different worlds brought together to create something truly unique. Actually, I don't think there is anything else like this out there at all. Actually.
And, like, I mean, like, I know you're an animal lover. I've kind of, I find myself having more and more concern for small animals as I've gotten older, because I've started to get more sentimental and stuff. But and I particularly have started to love dogs, which previously I didn't really. Although we always grew up with dogs.
It's Krang. Really Krang did it to you, darling. That's fine. It's little Krang. See little Krang's face in the morning. You go, how can I not love dogs? Look at this. It's like the child. Got my own little child.
You know what it was, and I'm sure we talked about this last week when Krang made a guest appearance.
Yeah.
There used to be a dog that we used to have in the shop who used to come and sit on the counter and stuff. And he was tiny. He was called Thor, but he was absolutely like a little tiny puppy, and he was adorable. So yeah, I think that started to mellow me out with dogs and things like that. And then we used to have a co-worker who used to bring her dog in on a daily basis because it was a new puppy and she couldn't leave it. So she used to just bring it into the shop.
I think you need to have a word with Travelling Man. I reckon I need to get Krang in there. Definitely.
Yeah. Definitely. I think comic shops should be dog-friendly places.
Well, you can bring your dog in. The problem with Krang is I have actually asked about Krang before, but she's not fully toilet trained. Even at nearly 2, she's a nightmare. She's trained everything. It's more a defiance, I think. She's just like, I'm just going to wear you. That's fine. You'll clean it up. It's all right. It's been a lot better in this lockdown. We've managed to sort of, but we got her quite late. So a lot of the training you would normally do early on, like 8 weeks or so, we got her at like 6 months. So it's been more difficult. After so many months, it is more difficult to train them new, especially things like toilet training and that type of stuff. But yeah, she has been a lot better. Has been a lot better. But yeah, it's hard work. Definitely hard work.
Yes, I mean, as all pets are, but I think they're very rewarding in terms of what you get back and the companionship and things like that. And so I definitely see why people have got, especially during lockdown, people have got so much more into having their pets and stuff. Who's the book by? I forgot to ask you.
Sorry. I've written it down here. Tony Fleece has written it. Art by Trish Forstner, who I think does My Little Pony.
Okay, right.
And colours by Brad Simpson. So there's not a letterist listed. So I don't know who's done the letters. So maybe it's just one of the other creators has done the artist, isn't it, or the writer, isn't it? I don't know. But yeah, so there's only actually three creators, and it's done by Image Comics.
Right.
Which always does great titles.
I remember seeing it solicited, but as I said, because I've had to really cut down the amount of titles I'm getting lately, it's one I missed, unfortunately. And in fact, I'm doing my first comics pickup tomorrow in sort of 4 or 6 weeks. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm so looking forward to having like a fresh pile of comics to sit and read through. Image put out great stuff a lot of the time. I'm a big Image reader. I like how they've kind of shifted from, or they're starting to shift from singles to books and that sort of model, which is something we'll talk about in a minute with one of the other books I've got here. But I really like Image books.
I agree. I agree. I really love what they do with the majority of their trades, which is issue 1. They do it normally around an $8.99 like price point, so it's really good, so people can sort of get into a title. I think it's a really, if it's at that sort of price, you go, all right, that's fine, I'll take a chance. So yeah, that's something that I really like about this. Sometimes if it isn't a series that's continuing, it might not be that case. It might not be, that price, if that makes sense. But yeah, it's something I really like. I think Boombox do something similar. I think it's around $10.50 for a lot of their first issues. So yeah, it's first trade, should I say? So yeah, I think things like that are invaluable to us as comic book sellers. Really, it's a really easy thing. Yeah, it makes my life so much easier to just go. Well, just have a go. It's the same price as a couple of coffees. Like, just get it. Like, and it encompasses usually 5 single issues, generally 5 to 6. So it's it's a good deal. It's a really good deal. As somebody who buys single issue comics, I know it's a good deal.
I'm still buying single issues and trades, and have far too many of both. So.
Yeah, me too. It's fine. I like having a fire hazard in my house. It's fine.
We'd like to state for the record, folks, that as long as you're careful, there's no chance of your house burning down just because you're going to buy a safety message. Do you think this is one you'll continue with? Like you'll
I mean, to be honest,
anything
I do not, I share on my comics board. I do generally continue with. It's just sort of sometimes I struggle just to get certain issues, even though I work in a comic book shop. Right. It's still difficult with everything that's going on at the moment. It does make getting certain things, especially the independent titles, they can be quite difficult to get hold of.
Sure.
It's all the prior advance ordering that you have to do and all that type of stuff, isn't it? That makes it a little bit more complex. You almost have to have a crystal ball, don't you? These things, but yeah, definitely. In an answer, yes. It's got dogs in it, Paul. I mean, no brainer, dog.
Have you ever read Evan Dorkin and I think it's Jill Thompson's? Oh man, what's it called now?
Not Beasts of Burden.
Yes.
Yes,
that's one.
I haven't read it. I want to read it, so it's another one. But I've definitely heard about it.
I've only read one of them, which was the Hellboy crossover, because I'm a big Hellboy fan, and it was really good. And I really should go back and check it out, but it kind of gets lost in the.
I will look into that actually, because I have kind of. I think we had it at work. One of the sale boxes actually, funnily enough. I think that's why I was looking at it, because I was thinking, I might get myself that. But a lot of people have great things to say about that.
Yeah, it's been a popular title for years, as are a lot of the titles with animals in. What have I read recently that's kind of been animal based? I read this thing last year, maybe, or the year before. Recently, listen to it. What have I read in the last 20 years? That's oh man, what was it? Oh, Flavor, by I hope I'm getting this right. Jinwook Clark and Christ, I can't remember the name. I'm sorry. This is what happens when you get old. But Flavor was a book set in a walled city where chefs were considered kind of superstars almost, and there was a lot of competitiveness to be a good chef and to go to like a good cookery school. Like it's a quasi medieval setting almost, or almost like the sort of Far East, but in that sort of, I guess, 1600 sort of period. And I had a talking dog in that who's helping with cooking. And I think one of the covers and one of the reasons, one of the reasons I picked it up was because there was like a picture on a cover of a dog chopping vegetables.
I'm all in.
But it was actually one of my favourite books of the last few years, and I think I wrote about it for the website ages ago. But yeah, that's worth checking out. Flavour.
Do you know, I've
from
got
Image.
Pen. I should write that. Let me write this down. What was it called?
Flavour.
Flavour.
But I think it's spelt the American way, without the U.
I was going to say, what's that? What's that? Image, right? I've written that down. I'll have a little look for that tomorrow when I'm at work.
Yeah, give it a go. Definitely worth checking out. What else have you read this week? Sorry.
Right. It's all right, Paul.
I always end up laughing my head off on these, Gemma. Thank you. You always, no matter what mood I'm in, you always cheer me up.
Well, thank you very much, Paul. I try, love. I try. I try. At the moment, you've just got to, haven't you? You've just got to like try and just get through it by, having a laugh. Right, I'm just getting all my notes sorted here, trying to be fresh. I can do this reader. So the next one I'm going to talk about is a trade. Again, this is my new thing. I really wanted to talk about this. It's Bad Mother.
Brilliant.
That is like my washing on the line because I do everything at 30.
I've only read the first issue of this way back when it came out. It was last year, wasn't it? I think.
Yes, it was. I mean, I did as well, and I reviewed it, and really struggled to get hold of the second issue. Managed to get the subsequent, but not the second. And I was absolutely gutted actually because I loved it, and I really wanted to keep talking about it, but I couldn't. I tried everything I could to get it, but I couldn't. So yeah, as soon as it came out in trade, I was like, I'm having this, and I'm buying it, I'm reading it, and it's fantastic. It's actually really refreshing. It's a really refreshing thing to read as a woman. But also just as somebody who likes comics and has read a lot of different comics. It's great. And it's basically just about a middle-aged housewife or mother who's sort of a bit invisible to the world. Her kids ignore her, her husband ignores her. And she's just kind of going about the daily drudgery of life until she's put in an extraordinary situation, really, which involves kidnapping, drugs and sex trafficking. So it ends up being quite an intense story, and it all relates back to her being a mother and something that's happening to one of her children, which is her. Well, what's the word I want to use? It's kind of like. When people talk about that feeling, not that feeling, when something's happening to your kids,
maternal instinct.
You can tell I've got dogs, can't you? That thing that you have with your kids.
I'm sure people can have maternal instincts over their dogs.
I do. But yeah, the character is just badass. Like it's and a relentlessness in it. I mean, she's really relentless. She reminds me of like a mother Terminator, the way that she goes about everything. She's brilliant. And it kind of reminds me as well. It's not the best analogy. This I don't know if you've seen a film called Falling Down.
Oh yeah. I absolutely love Falling Down.
I think the energy that she's got within her reminds me of Michael Douglas a little bit, where she's just like. That's it. This is my mission, and I'm going to do this for my kids, and that's that.
It's interesting that you mentioned that because Michael Douglas did, like, in terms of his roles, he played one thing better than any other actor, I felt, which was the beleaguered, middle-aged American man in a moment of crisis, and I think he did that. Better than any other actor. Yeah. And I'm struggling to think what's the female equivalent of that. I don't think there is one. Like that's the thing. I don't think up until recently in fiction there hasn't been like I think it's there in books, in novels.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's there in film or comics really. Dealing with women in middle age, and it's just like. we're all going to get there. I mean, I'm there now. But
yeah, the sad thing is, though, that's how it is. It's awful. It's awful that you automatically become irrelevant. Even actually when you're becoming more, to be fair, you're learning more about life.
Yeah.
You're becoming wiser, so to speak, some people. And to just be sort of written off as, oh, you're just a middle-aged mum, or you're just this, that, and the other. I just don't. I don't agree with that type of mentality in life anyway, because I just think you should never judge anybody on and how they present themselves, because you're always going to be wrong. You're always going to be wrong. You might be roundabout, but usually you're not right. But yeah, as somebody who's, pushing not far from 40, really, like, getting a bit older as a woman myself, you worry, not worry about it, but you just think, what's the deal here? Because I'm just getting better, so I don't understand what the thing is. My aim is, Paul, to get louder. So the older I get, the more you will see me and the more you will hear me. And there's nothing you can all do about it. And that's just the way I sort of see it. I just think, and maybe that's what isn't liked in society, is the fact that, maybe, women being more assured and actually, as somebody who's had to deal with, nonsense from enjoying sharing pictures of my face and all this type of stuff. There's nothing worse than a woman who enjoys herself, likes herself, and is confident, even though there's nothing better, obviously.
Yeah,
but in terms of society, it's very sort of like, you shouldn't be feeling like that. You should be feeling insecure. You should be feeling this way. You should be, pitted up against other women. I just do not, subscribe to that at all.
It's
so
a
for
crazy
me,
thing.
Yeah, crazy. And I just think that's why this is just really refreshing, really, really refreshing. It's actually needed in storytelling at the moment. And it's probably the in terms of someone being a superhero, it's the closest thing that you're actually going to get in real life. I've read stories in the past of parents lifting up cars when their kids have been stuck underneath it. There's actual real life stuff to prove that there is some sort of superhuman thing when it comes to your children sometimes. Like, you can do things that you would never normally do. So that's another reason why I think, it's important to sort of, have something like this. It's a subject, as you said, that isn't spoken about. There isn't enough films about it. There isn't enough said about it. But why do you become devalued just as you become older, or you become, or you don't look the right way, or you don't, it's as I said, very refreshing. And it's a great message on how to not make prior judgments on people based on an outward image. I don't now, Paul. I've when I was, again, probably a few years ago I would have done, but now you just can't. You're always wrong. You're always wrong. People have preconceived notions about me, about you, and they'll be wrong. They'll be wrong.
I hope I don't make those snap judgments. I'm sure I do. Nobody's perfect. But you'll hope to get better and more kind of clued up as you get older. I hope that's what's happening, along with my fading memory.
I don't know what excuses for mine. My goldfish memory.
It's sometimes quite useful to be able to go, I'm not going to remember that.
Yeah, some things you don't want to remember. It's fine. Like, I don't want to remember this.
But yeah, I quite like, as a trope, the sort of older badass female trope, and you see it a lot in sort of crime stories where you get, actually the leader of the gang is a 40-odd-year-old woman, and that kind of
smoking a cigarette in the back.
Yeah. And weirdly enough,
an animal that was. Don't know what to do with that.
Weirdly enough, you see it a lot in that show Riverdale, which I love, which is like a supreme kind of trashy version of the Archie
universe,
mythos. Yeah. But I adore it. I think it's great. Yeah, so like, is the book very violent?
Yes, it is. Yeah, it's very violent. It has a lot of I wouldn't say it's exactly the same, but it's got a feel of like Breaking Bad.
Sure. Okay.
I mean, I say that I've only ever watched the pilot episode of it. It was very good, but I just thought, I've got what I need from this now. Don't need to watch the rest of it. When you just go, oh yeah, this is really good. I get the deal. I get what's going to happen. Yeah, it's fine.
Okay, I'll ask you an interesting. Well, I hope it's going to be an interesting question.
Oh, I've just turned a light off. Oh, my foot. Oh no.
It's electrifying doing this live, folks.
That's the one. She's gone. She's back. Wait a sec. Oh, I'm listening, Paul. Lights back on.
Anything can and will happen. Yeah. So Breaking Bad, as it went on, I lost empathy and sympathy for the main character of Breaking Bad, and actually began to get really angry with them.
I was angry with him from the first episode.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. And then there was one particular episode. I won't say anything here to spoil it, but there was one particular episode where by the end of it, I was just like, screw this guy now. Like, I can't wait for him to get his comeuppance. And did you feel that way at all reading this book? Is there a moment where you kind of lose the moral identification with the character? Or is she someone you were kind of rooting for throughout the book?
Rooting for her, Paul. It's very
okay.
It doesn't just because of all the other things that she's dealing with as well that I probably haven't touched upon. So like the first thing is just her in a fitting room and this, this sales assistant being real funny with her going, oh, do you need a size above and all this type of stuff. And then she ends up getting caught in this robbery. It's just all these different things that happen. Kids are really rude to her, husband is really rude to her. There's just a lot of different things that you really want her to go, you really want to show everybody that she sort of exists. And as I say, it really does make you root for her. You don't think, oh, this is really bad what she's doing, because she's doing it to really bad people. Yeah. Like everybody she's dealing, the things, and again, it gets deeper as it goes on. You find out what's sort of going on with what her daughter's involved with. Her daughter didn't even really know she was involved with it until it got too sort of deep. So yeah, you don't feel sorry for any of the things that she's doing. And there's just so many clever little things in that she does do, how she tricks them and that type of stuff. That's very, and then she sort of relates it back to when she was in a PTA meeting and got this boy expelled from school for being, awful to her daughter and, trying a bra strap and all these types of things, and how she literally just was relentless until he was expelled. And so it shows her type of character, that she's that sort of person that will just keep going. When it comes to her kids, she'll just do whatever. And that's what was quite, and as I say, because she's doing it to really bad people and they're doing bad things, you just wanted to have them. You just wanted to,
and
get them all.
Do you get a sense that that is appreciated by the children or not? I mean,
you don't really get to delve into that too much.
Okay.
Everything sort of happened, because obviously there's not really a dialogue with one of the children the whole way through because they're not there, kidnapped. So you don't really get to see that so much. But maybe, I think at the end there's a little kind of jokey thing that shows that her daughter's acknowledged her, if that makes sense. But there's nothing really that sort of, goes on from it. And I'm sure after what she's done, her daughter will feel a lot more differently about her. But it's you do root for her. You do really want her to go forward. And as I say, the violence, it's there, but it doesn't it's not gratuitous. It's not sort of unnecessary. Everything's there, needs to be there. And there's one bit I wanted to talk about actually that got me really excited. There's a musical reference, Paul. Lyrics. So about halfway through, there's not many people will get this actually, but there's a whole page that's kind of dedicated verbally to the lyrics of Shit List by L7. I don't know if you've heard that song. It's one of my favourite L7 songs. And when I saw the lyrics, I was like, when I get mad, when I get pissed, Shit List. Shit List is in this. So it's just about putting all these people on a shit list. But yeah, I loved how they sort of used the L7 track to I could hear it in my head as I was reading it.
Hey, we're back where we were last week. 90s music and comics. Yeah.
I got bloody Sonic Youth t-shirt on as well.
Hey,
represent. But yeah, so that got me quite giddy. I got quite giddy because I'm a big L7 fan. So I was like, oh my God, shit list is in here. But yeah, it's again just a great message on now to not make judgments, and it's just I don't know. It shows all the prejudices. I can't say the word prejudices. You say it. I can't say it.
I think I'm going to have trouble now. Prejudices.
Yeah, that we have regarding older women. It just shows them all there, just all on the page. It's awful, really, to see on a page, and just how irrelevant we've become with age. And I just think I love how this is just a two fingers up to that notion.
I think increasingly that's going to go away in society because people are partly because, and I hate to whittle it down to this, but partly because people are getting older but looking younger. Not me, of course, but they're looking younger and staying healthier as they get into their older age, and I think that is going to make a difference to people's perceptions, unfortunately, because we are an image-based society. Yeah. We love an oogle, and I think that because the generation coming up is coming up in such a technologically aware time, the language that people use as they get older will kind of almost trick you into thinking they're younger. Do you know what I mean? Like I'm always impressed when I see older people with like iPhones and things, because I just think I wouldn't have a clue how to work that. And I certainly like I would never have got my mum like a smartphone. You know. It's a the thing is, things move so fast, don't they now, Paul? So you're in this situation where each generation will struggle as soon as the next generation sort of comes along. So that seems to be a running theme, and I suppose I've always tried to just not forget about that, but just keep on it. I think that's what keeps me young, if that makes sense, is that I'm always sort of aware of the latest things. And in terms of the technological advances, it's something I'm okay with. Not the best. I was quite lucky when I was at school. It was just sort of coming in, so I had sort of like almost like both worlds really. I got to experience landline life and 4 channels and all that jazz. But then it's sort of elevated. Oh, I missed my 4 channels. Do you know how exciting it was when Channel 5 came? So exciting. Oh yeah, like
brilliant.
I'm right there with you. Because nowadays, the amount of information coming at you at any given time is insane.
Oh, just all the time. Do you know? I bet it's very difficult to navigate. It's difficult to navigate what's real, what's not real, and coming back to the age thing. I use filters when I put a picture up. Sometimes, I do things like that. So it is, we.
I don't. I got up on filters.
Yeah, you just go natural, darling.
But then you won't see me put up many pictures of my face. See if you can get the correlation there.
Need to do a selfie a day, Paul. A selfie a day. That's it. I'm gonna challenge you. I'm going to challenge you to do it.
This is my selfie. This is like.
It's funny because I never used to take photographs of myself at all. I wasn't really into it, to be fair. And then there's many reasons I got ill, and that was another reason. But I just thought, you know what? Like, this is my face. It's the only one I've got. Yeah. And what's wrong with celebrating it? I quite actually like seeing myself at a certain point in time. So, for example, when I wasn't very well, I have a whole catalogue of that. Now, some people might not want that, but I quite like that. I quite like seeing where I've come from, where, I quite like seeing myself aging, Paul, funnily enough. I know people might not be into that, but I like to see that. So for me, it's just more a way of not accepting myself. That's not the right word to use, but it goes towards that. It goes towards that. It's a way of me going, because I think if I didn't, I'd probably, shrivel away and hide somewhere, So for me, it's that as well. It's like, I suppose trying to appreciate my own self-image and say, I'm embracing this, even though some days I don't want to, and some days I don't like it, and some days whatever, but I'm still going to try and do it. I'm still going to try, and because there is just one of me, as there's just one of you,
And I think perhaps in keeping with the book, sometimes part of that is having to reassert yourself over your own life.
Yeah.
And over what's happening to you or happening to family members in the case of Bad Mother, I guess. Who is the book by? We're not really on it today.
Oh, no, I'm not sorry.
It's not you. It's not you. It's we're just...
a great writer called Krista Forst. She's just done a comic called Redemption that I love as well, which is a female lead character on it. I like her work. And it's Mike Deodato Jr. is the artist in the cover artist.
He's very
brilliant.
Long-standing artist, I believe. He's been working for a long time, and he's done a lot for Marvel, if I'm remembering correctly. He does a lot of nice, great variant covers and things. Very, very good artist. Very good artist.
Oh, fantastic line work. Really good line work. Really seemingly nice chap as well. He shared. I think I shared Berserker Unbound a couple of years ago. I don't know if he did the artwork for that. Yeah. And he big-rammed it on his Instagram. It was really lovely about, so it was really, really nice that he was appreciative that I'd sort of done it. I mean, it's not the reason, I'm happy whether people like them or not, but it's nice. It's nice when they do, isn't it?
I've got to say, talking about people sharing things, like I did a little thing today on International Women's Day, just saying on the Comic Crush Twitter, just saying, hey, give a shout out to these are some of my favorite female women creators. Tell me yours, and the reaction to that has been really nice, and it's nice to see the love there, and kind of see people supporting each other and talking about women creators in comics that they like. So yeah, that's been fun today. Sorry, I just wanted to mention that.
Well, they should talk about them because there's some amazing ones. Some of my favourite people in comics are women. So and it's not, They're brilliant. There's lots of people who work in this industry, women who are just fantastic at what they do. So
there's terrific art out there from everybody, and
from everyone,
and terrific
and writing.
It's
always good to get lots of different perspectives, isn't it? And I think that's what you get with Krista. And as I say, she's done a lot of research. She's put on the back. She did a lot of research because she's not a mum either, like me. So she's actually looked into, spoken to parents and that type of thing to get. To get, a more of a rounded sort of information for the comics. So that's really good. Oh, I'll say who else is on it. Sorry, I forgot to keep saying. Lee Lowridge is the colorist cover colorist. And
I love his colors.
They're fantastic. Absolutely brilliant in here. And Desi Senti is the letterer.
Right.
Cool. It's by AWA Upshot. Which are fairly new. I think they actually came out in the pandemic. So when the pandemic started, I think that's when they sort of started to release everything last March, was it? Last April?
They're a fairly new company. They've had some good, strong titles. I've got to say, 99% of what I've read of their output, I've loved.
Yeah,
like I've really enjoyed it.
Yeah, like really enjoyed it as well. It's not just a middle of the road type thing. It's good stuff. Yeah. Really, really good stuff.
It's really good stuff. Very much like Aftershock and Vault in that respect. Like they've got some really strong titles, and they're kind of looking at really strong creators and things like that. So I think probably deservedly another hit for them.
Definitely. And I also, what I've noticed as well as somebody who sort of does standing orders, is that a lot of the customers who are, regularly collect DC and Marvel are putting AWA Upshot on their standing orders. So there's a correlation between that, which I don't, but that's something I've noticed. So maybe it is, as you say, they're using creators that have been used on big titles, and they're recognizing names and they're buying into things from that. And then they're obviously going over to indie, whereas before they might have just bought Marvel and DC. So, it's really good. I mean, I think again, like Image, they've done the $8.99 price point.
That's good.
You laugh it again. I think I can't remember, we got Hotel in. That I probably shouldn't talk about that because I'd like to talk about that. And that just flew out straight away because I was like, you need this. You need this. It's amazing. But again, the price just makes it. People will take that chance. So yeah, buy this. Buy this as well. It's really good price.
I am going to get it at some point.
Yeah, get
it. So just briefly, I'm just going to whiz through a couple of things I've read in the last few days. I'm all over the shop time-wise again. Probably the most recent one I've read is this, Firepower, number 7 by Robert Kirkman and Chris Samney. This has been a massive success. This book, as we were talking about in the sort of off-air element, was released. They did a prelude trade first, and then they started a series. And I think it was, you could buy the trade and the first issue same day, because it was designed for Free Comic Book Day, which of course didn't happen last year, and maybe won't this year, given the sort of timeline of things. But that is definitely worth catching up on. So the first 2 trades are out now of Firepower. This is the start of the second or third arc, depending on whether you want to include the prelude. Kirkman does these really solid long form narratives. Like you always get a sense with his books, as with The Walking Dead, this is never going to end. And of course, he does eventually end them. But he's good at really using each arc to explore the mindset of the characters and sort of open up discussion on various things. I think this second arc is very much going to be about the children in this book. But I can't recommend this highly enough. Chris Samney's art is just gorgeous. Like, it's just amazing. Like, he's I think he's like the kind of natural heir to Dave Mazzucchelli, and the colors by Matt Wilson, who, again, amazing colorist, framed that art really beautifully. Russ Wotton's letters, you know, you really get a sense of the voices and the mood through those letters. It's just a great book, and I absolutely love it. And yeah, I am switching to trades on this though, but it means I'm missing out on the sort of commentary that Kirkman and Samney are doing at the back of each book. So at the back of each book, they've got a kind of commentary on that issue. So I would maybe consider picking up the singles, guys. Although I've switched to trades, don't follow my example. Please do pick up. I also found it in a box and forgot I'd brought it. And in fact, when I read it, I realised that yes, I'd actually read this book before. It's an older one from Vault. I Walk with Monsters, which you said you're kind of
reviewed
been
it,
reading. Right.
Yeah, I've got issue 2 to read still somewhere in my
It's a dark book. Like, it's a very dark book. But I really enjoyed it. This is written by Paul Cornell, who quite famously did a lot of, I think he's done a lot of Doctor Who. He did Saucer Country a while back, which got republished by IDW last year or the year before. But I've interviewed Paul Cornell as part of a Doctor Who Day thing before. He's a lovely guy. The artist is Sally, I hope I'm getting this right, Cantorino. Colours by Debarla Kelly. I can't pronounce it. I'm sorry. I am really sorry to the colorist. I can only apologise. And letters by World Design, who seems to do a ton of Vault books. It's a very bloody book and it's very dark. But I would recommend maybe tracking this down. You reckon they're on issue 2 only so far?
Yeah, maybe 3 actually.
So not
yeah. I think we've got them all in Travelling Man though, 1, 2, and
there you go.
There's a 3.
And possibly if you're down in London, check with Gosh. They might have them. That's where I buy my stuff. So yeah, Travelling Man or Gosh, depending on what part of the country you're in. What else have I read this week? It's been a bit of it's like digging through old stuff. Deceased by Tom Taylor and I think it's Trevor Hairsine. Yeah, Trevor Hairsine and Stefano Gaudino and James Harren. The colours are by Rain Beredo and the letters are by Saida Temafonte. This kind of surprised me. I was not expecting to enjoy it. I don't like zombie things. I'm just not. Although the book goes to great lengths to tell you that the characters in it are not zombies. They're kind of something else, but they kind of resemble zombies.
They are zombies.
They're zombies. But it's what I liked. I am going to try and write about this for the website this week, actually. It's very fatalistic, and I quite like that. I quite like things that are able to disguise quite depressing, sad stories in the sort of cloak of the big summer blockbuster. So I actually am quite into that, because I'm always quite impressed that somebody lets someone do it and says, oh yeah, take all these fantastic characters who always win and just give me a story where they don't. Yeah, where they don't.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah.
And it is a depressing book. Like, it is a bloody depressing book. And the more you go on, the more you get that sense. It's like, oh, then they're not coming out of this. This is going to be it. So it is a sort of alt universe thing, kind of like Marvel Zombies, I guess. But that's definitely worth picking up. That's available in trade. It's been out for a while. I'm kind of getting through things very slowly at the moment. I'm all over the shop really. But that's worth picking up. I think if you like your superhero stuff, it's something a bit different. I Walk with Monsters, as Gemma said, available at Travelling Man and very probably Gosh as well. Firepower certainly available everywhere at Gosh and Travelling Man, and of course Bad Mother and Stray Dogs available at Travelling Man and Gosh as well. Do contact your local comic book shop. There are links in the bottom there if you want to get in touch with one of those shops about sending you those comics. All shops are doing mail order at the moment, which is a good thing. And click and collect, you guys do that too. I know Gosh do, because as I said, I'm heading up there tomorrow to get my comics.
Well, it's technically call and collect. There's no call and collect. There's no
we're not that advanced. Yeah.
Call and collect. Send a pigeon over. No, but yeah, it's call and collect. So you call, you pay over the phone.
You find a small grubby child who's just come down a chimney, give him 2 shillings and send him
Paul? I watched a documentary on chimney sweeps. Now that's horrific. Someone needs to write a story about them. The cruelty of that. Awful. This is what I do at 4 a.m. Find things on YouTube about chimney sweeps. I did it the other week about. I do it 4 a.m. I was watching a thing about wallpaper at the turn of the earlier 18th century, and it was killing everyone because it was filled with cyanide.
Oh, okay, fascinating.
Cyanide? No, arsenic. Sorry, arsenic, not cyanide. Wasn't even paying attention, was it? But yeah, very controversial. Yeah, loads of people died from it, especially kids when they were licking the wall. Loads of children ended up dying, and the correlation was between the wallpaper they were using. They used to use wallpaper with a bright green, like a deep green colours, and it was the deep green colour that they put the arsenic in.
I remember seeing a thing once. I don't know if this is true. Watches, glow in the dark watches.
Yeah. When
they first began production of those, which apparently was many years ago, the people making them would sometimes die of radiation poisoning.
Yeah, I can believe it.
Because the paint they were using was ever so slightly radioactive, and they used to lick the brush and paint the numbers and the little digits on. That is something you need to verify though, because I don't know
I'll
if that's
Google
100%
that,
true.
I'll Google.
It's either that or lead. They would die of lead poisoning because the paints were lead, and they were. I'm sure it was
lead. It might be lead. Will it paint, maybe?
But it's just bizarre that so much of life is designed to kill you.
Yeah, so don't go licking walls of old houses.
Yeah.
You know, if you go to a stately home for the day, don't lick the wall.
Yeah, Gemma, I think that once again, we've proved we're the best show about comics anywhere, because we've covered a variety of subjects today.
This is a show about life. It's a show about life.
We've gone off on tangents. We've talked about comics. As always, support your local comic store.
Yes.
You can catch me here.
Just gonna grab the Krang. Oh.
Yeah.
Sorry, we've got to do it just before we go. There we go.
There you go. A little touch of Krang.
I'm just woken her up. She's not very happy.
Oh, bless.
Oh, look at the camera. Come on. There we go.
She's
kissing. Yeah, she's kissing.
Why have you woken me up? But you can catch me here. We're here every week with various YouTube shows. This show usually goes out on Friday. Hello, Friday. For us, it's a bit earlier in the week though.
It's Monday.
Don't give away the magic, Gemma.
I'm sorry.
We'll be back next Saturday though, because next Sunday. Liz and I will be back for a special episode of the One Division podcast, The Scarlet Watch, which is did you enjoy it?
Yes.
Right.
Watched it all in one sitting. Are you
in one go?
Yeah, I watched it all in one
go. No. I've really loved it. But we did a weekly show where we would just talk about the happenings on the show that week, and I've really enjoyed doing that with Liz. So we're going to come back and do another one for the next Marvel series, which starts, I think, next week. But this Sunday, we're coming back for a special episode. Do tune in for that. Follow us on at the Comic Crush on Twitter and Instagram. On Facebook, we're just the Comic Crush. Gemma, you can find at Cosmo Gem Betty and at Cosmo Gem Betty in colour. Like, you've got the two separate Instagrams, right?
Yeah, but it's exactly the same on each of them, just different colours. So when people think I'm an egotist, they've just got two sites.
Colours to suit your every mood. Do follow Gemma though, because you get Gemma's wonderful little reviews of comics for breakfast, which is what inspired the show. So it's been good for me. So
and me. Do you know, I've really enjoyed it, Paul, and I've really enjoyed speaking to you and getting to know you.
Thank you.
So I have,
Cheers. The pleasure's all mine, believe me. I really enjoy doing this. We'll be back with more comic stuff next week, I hope. And we'll catch you soon, guys. Do check out the comic stores that are listed below. There is a list of other comic stores in the UK that's on the website, The Comic Crush. You can find that there. And there's always loads of articles, podcasts, videos, everything, all on the website. Do check it out. Check out the Patreon, because that helps me keep the site running. Thanks very much for watching. See you soon.
Got the hand out. Bye. Oh, Krang's looking.
The touch.
Krang's looking. Got the touch. You're not up for it, Krang. No.
Not interested.
Not interested.
Bye-bye, Krang.
Bye, Paul.
See you, Gemma.
Bye, love. Take care. Say bye, Krang. Bye.